Well, Kelly's Court is back in session. On the docket today, a new twist in the George Zimmerman murder case. Today, we're getting our first look at a color photo of Zimmerman's bloodied and bruised face the night he shot and killed Trayvon Martin as he was out on a neighborhood watch. This picture gives us a much more vivid look at his injuries than the grainy black and white photo that was originally released to the defense by the prosecution. Zimmerman is facing second-degree murder charges for shooting the unarmed Florida teen last February. He claims that he shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense after a confrontation. So does this photo of Mr. Zimmerman's injuries shed new light on the case? Joining me now, David Wohl, a defense attorney, and Brian Claypool, who is also a defense attorney. So the defense lawyer in this case is really unhappy, David Wohl. He says, I've been pushing them to give me the color photo. All they gave me was the black and white. I had to go into court to file a motion to make them do it. And he's very happy he filed that motion because there is a stark difference between the one and the other.
Megan, this borders, no question about it, on prosecutorial misconduct. I mean, are you kidding me? The officers take this picture of George Zimmerman that clearly shows a broken nose, shows graphic injuries, blood dripping down his nose onto his lips. They take that photo, they do a black and white photocopy, they then turn that over to the defense, which shows nothing, which completely conceals the injuries. They might as well have given him this, Megan. That is as valuable as that black and white photo is to the defense. They're required by law to turn this over to them. They failed to do so, and it's just the latest in a long series of attempts to cover up the evidence in this case, Megan. And if the prosecution has evidence that they think will lead to the conviction of George Zimmerman of second-degree murder beyond a reasonable doubt, I don't know what it is. Right now, they've painted themselves into a political corner, and they're in deep, deep trouble.
Brian, the state says, look, we had the obligation to disclose it. We did. We gave you the copy of the photo. You asked us for the real, original, and eventually we got it to you.
Megan, the bigger story is this photograph has no bearing at all on whether George Zimmerman is going to be convicted. In fact, give me a D for desperation. The fact that they had to release a photograph of Zimmerman with his bloody lip proves that the defense here is desperate. The key issue in the case, two issues, whether Zimmerman was the aggressor in this case, whether he's injured or not has no bearing on whether he was the aggressor. The second issue is, did Zimmerman use objectively reasonable force under the circumstances? And that has nothing to do at all with the photograph either.
Oh, come
the
on.
911 tape in this case, Megan, will be the noose that's going to hang Zimmerman.
So you're arguing, but listen, you're arguing then that the fact that there was a physical confrontation between them in which Mr. Zimmerman was hit is irrelevant?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh
Everybody knows.
Megan,
the whole world knows, David. Hey, is anybody disputing that there was an altercation? That's the only thing the photograph shows, an altercation. That's it.
Boils down to self-defense, Brian. And his claim was from the very beginning that Trayvon Martin attacked him, he was pounding his face into the concrete, punching him in the face. The injuries to the face prove that. There's also another series of photos that show the injuries to the back of his head. There are grass stains, wetness on the back of his T-shirts described in the police report.
If you start a fight, the person can defend themselves.
Wait a minute, this is an interesting point. This is actually a very interesting. Hold on, because that's an interesting point. Let Brian make that point that it doesn't matter. We could have 50 photos of Zimmerman badly beat up and tell us why it's not relevant.
Because if you start a fight, you cannot now then rely on the stand your ground law. If he started the fight, then it doesn't matter if he's injured 5 times over, has 2 left ears that are gone, or a broken nose. It doesn't matter. You can't rely on that defense.
Okay, but that is one of the issues that the jury will have to decide, is who threw the first blow, who actually started the fight. So you can't say that the photo is totally irrelevant.
That's not true.
Megan,
why not?
I'm not saying the photo
Megan, the 911 tape.
Megan, the 911
No. It is an issue of fact for the jury, Brian. Let me get David to weigh in.
Yeah, here it is. The 911 call and a witness description also shows that while George Zimmerman was pursuing Martin through the neighborhood, he broke off his pursuit, went back to his car, and that's when Martin approached him. After he broke off that pursuit, that's when the aggression stops. Martin comes up to him. He says he reached into his pocket and picked up his phone. Now, hold on a second, Brian. And that's when Martin punched him and started pounding his head into the ground. And Megan, attached to the motion that was filed with the court to get this discovery that the DA doesn't want to give them, is the results of a polygraph test that clearly shows George Zimmerman was being truthful about this entire description of the
I don't know,
events.
Brian. My feeling is they have two very different stories. The girlfriend of Trayvon Martin is going to say that Zimmerman was the pursuer, but if that is disproved, if the defense can prove that he wasn't the pursuer, that he backed off the aggression and that Trayvon came after him, then that bloody photo is absolutely relevant.
Well, there's no DNA evidence either, Megan, to connect Trayvon Martin with touching George Zimmerman. So that's also going to hang Zimmerman.
All right, we've got to leave it at that. Good debate. Up next.